Good evening, everyone, to those who are listening to us live right now, and for those who will be watching us a little later via the recorded review. I am Rufus Bill, and welcome to another edition of Talking To, which is a weekly human interest broadcast or content that's hosted by myself, Joanne Tosin Fuller, and Justin Hearn. And we're glad that you are here joining us today on this Sunday evening on 12/18/2022, on a beautiful 1 week away from Christmas. And before I get any deeper, we're going to say good afternoon, Justin Hearn. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. No complaints at all. Always glad to be here on Talking To.
That's for sure. So we are down one host today.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. The fragrance is missing. Rufus, where's
The fragrance?
We need some cologne. We got to spray it, some perfume, something. The fragrance is missing.
I know. Joanne Tosin Fuller, our other host, she is out and about in these streets and highways and byways, tipping over there to see the Broadway musical Tina.
In New York?
No, well, she's here. It's touring and it's in Detroit tonight.
Oh wow!
At the Opera House.
Yes,
so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know. So she's going to see it, and I saw it last weekend, and so I'm sure that she's going to have some rave reviews when she comes back on the air. But it was really good.
Okay.
Nothing like I expected in terms of how they presented the musical. They left a lot for you to kind of put together under the assumption that you kind of knew a lot about the stories. But there were some things in there that had not been discussed publicly that I'd heard about and that was not in the movie. What was the name of the movie with Lawrence Fishburne and Angela Bassett? They made a Tina Turner biopic, and even from some of the interviews of Ike Turner and Tina Turner that they've done separately. But it was just some things in there that I found very fascinating. But being a musician, Justin, that music and that choreography
really
is on point.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
I guess I really haven't been a fan of Tina Turner, honestly. So I think I would have to really, really check it out.
Right.
The only thing that I guess is I'd be 50-50 with stage plays and musicals.
Me too.
It's like in one token, I went to go see the Temptations earlier this year. I think that was it in the summer time?
August. It was in the summer.
Yeah, I think it's time in August. And I think the crew and cast and the musicians, they did an excellent job. Just too long for me. It's only so much you can take myself of singing and dancing. You know what I mean? It's like,
I feel you.
Nah.
After that fifth song, Justin, you're saying you're done.
Right.
Let's just get to the meat of
but so I can imagine. My mom actually went to New York, and my wife to see that show. They showed Tina Turner, and it was another show, Michael Jackson, and everything like that. And they raved on it,
Okay.
So I could imagine, but it's just I don't think I got it. I gotta see it. I think listening to it from you and Joanne would be good enough.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it is I think a 7:30, maybe 4-hour musical.
Oh heavens! The Temptations, they went for an hour and a half. Then it was a 20-minute intermission.
Right.
It was another hour and a half. At the intermission, I was like, "Mom, you ready to go?" She was like, "Oh boy," I'm like, "Oh man."
You already know the story,
right? I'm like, "Look, you hungry? You hungry? You want some real food?" They tired of pop. You roasted almonds. You tired of them, right?
Right. Yeah. Those $7.50 almonds.
Yeah,
expensive. Yeah, that's funny. But it's playing. It'll probably be until the end of the week, I believe.
Okay.
And so when I went, people just Detroit loves going out.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is about. We love to go out. We love to be seen. We love to socialize. And I saw all of the fashions.
I was just going to say, I know you saw the mink coats. I know
You
they
know
out.
they were waiting. They were waiting. They had gone to storage and got them out. They were just waiting they were rubbing their hands. Please let it be cold.
Let it be cold, man.
And yes, both men and women, they let us know that they are fur lovers last weekend. And it's even colder this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll see even more.
Yeah. I don't own a fur coat at all. I don't own one. I know you got one.
I got a baby fur coat.
You got a baby? What's a baby fur coat?
Just one to the waist, a jacket.
Okay. You ain't got the
I ain't got the grown up kind.
You ain't got the grown up kind.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, we of course Joanne's gonna have a great time, but also today, football.
Yes. How about those Detroit Lions, man?
Yes.
They're finding a way. They're 7-7. They might make the playoffs, right? They're in the hunt. Chances are if they win the rest of their games and a few teams lose, they can sneak in or whatever.
Okay.
But they can sneak in. I'm more impressed. Is that somebody chiming in?
No, that was me messing up on this end.
Okay. All right. I said, no, we got a caller on. Hold on. We got a caller on there.
We done did it now.
Right. But so they can sneak into the playoffs. However, though, I think that winning is important. Winning is important. And when you win, it does something for the culture. And then you learn how to win, and then you learn how to be winners. And I think that's what they're doing. They're establishing a winning culture. They haven't lost a game since Thanksgiving. So, it's been about a month, about 4 or 5 games, and they have won every last one. And they should have won that game, quiet as kept. And it's crazy because they started the season 1-6. So they won 1, and then they lost 6 games in a row. And then since then, they've turned it around and went 6-1. So now they've won 6 games and lost 1. So they're right now at 7-7. That's 14 games. They got about 3 games left for the season. So they can finish these games out. A couple teams lose. We can sneak into the playoffs. It's good for the fabric of the city. I mean, Lions fans, man, have been believers.
Oh my God,
for a long time. Even me at 29, it's like, man, my whole life I've been waiting for the Lions to win.
Right.
And we haven't won a playoff game since 1950. Is it 50? It's 50 something, 56?
50, yeah.
Some 55. It's somewhere in there. So, maybe
it's long overdue.
It's long overdue. I'm not saying it's gonna happen this year, but the thing about it is the culture has changed, the team has changed, and they're growing. And they're a few players away.
So I saw that I was trying to look for this post that you made today. And Justin said, bad call, punt the ball. We don't have a good kicker. Makes no sense. Talk about that.
So the Lions did something in free agency about a year or 2 ago, and they let Matt Prater go. Matt Prater was a bona fide kicker. I mean, the Joker could kick 65 yards, winning football games. They let him go in free agency. They decided not to pay him. Ever since they did that, we have been without a good kicker, without a reliable kicker. The Lions kicking game this year have missed multiple field goals. When you think about the game that we lost earlier this year to Minnesota, we missed a field goal. We missed 3 or 4 field goals. So it's just the kicking game has been bad. And one thing that's a strategy in football is about field position. Field position says that if I kick the ball, I can kick it deep, and then I force the team to have to go 80, 70 yards for a touchdown. Or if I kick a field goal on the 40-yard line and I miss it, I give the team the ball right there, which means instead of 80 yards or 70 yards, they only got to go, 50 yards
50, right,
for a touchdown. So you kick the ball and you play defense. However, this time, and that's the crazy thing, is that we're seeing the Lions get breaks they never get. Dan Campbell decided to kick that ball. The field goal was missed tremendously. It was not even close at all. The guy totally missed it.
Uh-huh.
And what happens? The other team gets the ball, they comes down and score a touchdown.
Right.
Same old Lions, right? Same old Lions.
Same old
So
Lions.
you like, oh, the writing's on the wall. The writing's on the wall. The game is over. We're down 3. Something's going to happen. But lo and behold, Jared Goff comes down and they deliver. And they score the touchdown, right? Yeah. And then we give them the ball back. It's about 1minute and 49 seconds left on the clock. They're down 3. The score was 17-20. Field goal ties the game. And so, we're playing good defense, whatever, kind of same old Lions. It's like 3rd and 17. And it's like less than a minute to go. Somehow we give up a pass play on 3rd and 17. You're just holding your breath. Like, oh my God, it's coming. It's about to happen. There's a few more plays, but the defense stood its ground. They did get another long pass to just about where they thought they would need to get it. However, their kicker attempted a field goal with like no time remaining on the clock. And he missed. He missed tremendously as well.
Yes, he did.
It's just one of those things. Dan Campbell, I think, is a leader of men, and I think that in some instances, I'm a good leader of men, but that doesn't make me a head football coach. You know what I'm saying? I think that he has great leadership abilities, but the opportunity to be a head football coach, he's growing on the job. So as you know, and as we quarterback, or as we call it, Monday quarterback from the living room, from the couch, out of football, we can look at some of his things that he does and say, hey man, that's questionable. Why would you? That makes no sense. Why would you do that? But today, thankfully, now there were several games. I could count at least 3 games this season that his bad decision making or not managing the clock. The Jets, Robert Salah, a Dearborn native. You know what I mean? They had 3 timeouts, and he managed the clock at the end of that game very poorly. Very poorly. They even broke it down. He had a few long pass plays. If he would have called a timeout, it would have been more time on the clock to try to score, get a field goal. But he didn't. And so that killed the clock. Went from like 48 seconds to 20 seconds. Just his team trying to get lined up. There's no reason to do that. Call a timeout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened to you think something that simple that you can clearly see at home, you think the coach would just automatically know, but
maybe they're too close to it,
Maybe. Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of.
So, and now you're a coach, and what do you coach?
So I coach basketball. Middle school basketball.
So what are some of the techniques that you use to be a good coach?
That's a great question. I think being a good coach is relational, right? It has to be relational. It has to be relationship. No, I don't know if that's a word, but that's a word today. You have to establish a relationship, with the kids you're coaching, with their young men that you're coaching, with the athletes that you're coaching, because it's almost like family. When people bond as family, they become inseparable. When they become inseparable, then it's like they create this bond or this harmony that adversity can come, things happen, but we stick together. And whenever you go through a basketball season, that's what you face. You face many adversities. And my team actually experienced some adversity on Friday night. Friday night we played a game in a tournament game at Grosse Pointe South High School. Me with Grosse Pointe South High School. If anybody's not, it's a predominantly white school, whatever. So here we are, some kids from Harper Woods. Really, the school is in Harper Woods, but all the kids live in Detroit. Coming into this environment, there's all white people. All the referees are all white. The teams are all white. We're black. And within the first 2 minutes of the game, they gave me a technical foul and told me I had to sit down for the rest of the game. Yeah. So it was like a free throw attempt happening. The other team was lined up wrong. My team was lined up wrong. And instead of just saying, okay, we're going to redo the free throw, they only penalized my team and said the first shot doesn't count. We're going to shoot the second shot. So our athletic director was there, and he's like, no, my guys are lined up wrong because the other team is lined up wrong. So if anything, you reshoot it. You don't say, first shot doesn't go,
Doesn't
one
happen.
shot, one shot, whatever.
Right.
And the referee asked him, like, who did he think he was? And he said, well, I'm the athletic director. And then
Oh.
he in turns get nothing to do with me. I'm coaching my team. The athletic director is at the score table, saying this is not right. And yeah, he gave me a technical foul and told me I had to sit the rest of the game. So it's extremely hard to coach a basketball game when you can't stand up.
Right.
You can't stand up. So disadvantage, right? Then later on in the game, like this is common thing. I've been coaching basketball many years. There's this common thing when predominantly black schools go into these white schools. I think they look at us as aggressive, right? So they let the other team foul us, and they won't call a foul. But as soon as we breathe wrong on another team, it's a foul call.
It's a
Whatever.
foul.
So we went through that. Guys are frustrated, and I'm telling them, it's adversity. We got to stick through it. We got to stick through it. So definitely developing those relationships so that when adversity comes, you can have a common ground to be, to move forward.
Right.
Definitely knowing your craft, right? You got to know. You got to know. You can't just. I mean, for like this year, I was asked to coach soccer. I had nothing. I don't know anything about soccer. But I was coaching the K through second team, so I made it fun. I made it fun for the kids, and it was cool because they didn't really know. But you have to know your craft. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to be and help your players see that you know your craft. And when they see that, they'll buy in and they'll do exactly what you tell them to do. And I'll say that and discipline, man. You like your team, like a team with no discipline ain't going nowhere. So you got to be disciplined. Guys got to know, how to keep their bearings. And it just discipline goes a long, 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 long way.
I for the first time ever, I worked with a school this year and preparing the students for their winter concert. And it's one thing when you're working with choirs because you only meet once a week.
Right.
And then even if you yourself have a gig like I've had often, you work maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to the gig, maybe a couple of days a week with your band and the singers putting together the show. However, in school, so you're working with these students, and I had K through 4th, and it was every day music, music. And so they were very, they didn't know me, and I didn't know them. So we had that first rough patch of bonding together. But I will say, as the time progressed, and I used some of the keys you just talked about, getting to know each other, becoming one as a family, and that discipline, it helps you to move forward to the goal. And we were able to perform this past Monday to the satisfaction of the administration at the school.
I seen that. I seen the setup. That was a dope setup.
Yes. So, and I'm sure you've passed that area, Shader, and 8 Mile, and that dome there is unbelievable.
Yeah, I never even paid attention. I drive past it. So I used to know the principal. I don't think she's the principal there anymore, but I used to know the principal. And I don't stay far from there. I live in St. Clair Shores, so I'm not far from there down, 8 Mile. But I can't ever remember seeing a dome. So now I'm like, I want to drive past there and like, let me go see that. It's just a little dome.
Yes. It's state of the art. And hopefully what their plans are is that, the schools in their district will be able to play there as well as open it up to others. Soccer teams. It's a soccer dome. And a basketball court.
Yeah.
Yes, it has the turf and everything on it. So it's very interesting. But yeah, just like you were saying, having to build that relationship. That's what you said.
Yeah.
With those, especially students.
Right. Yep. And that's one of the big differences that you see this year between the Lions and the Matt Patricia era. Matt Patricia came under Bill Belichick. If you know who Bill Belichick is, viewers, he's the all-time great New England Patriots head coach, Super Bowl winning coach. And his type of demeanor of coaching is just like, you're a player, and I'm a coach, and you're, you know what I'm saying, it's very demeaning. And he brought that culture here to Detroit. And a lot of the players didn't want to play for that culture. A lot of players, fell out, and left and asked for trades, and it just created something that was not cool. And then we see Dan Campbell has come in, and now these guys pray, they play for him. They give it all out on the line. They do it. So it's really important. It's really important. Oh, I think we lost Rufus for a second. Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard coaching because there's especially inner city kids, because there's so much baggage, and there's so many broken homes, and there's so much that you have to overcome to coach. And so it's as well as important is to be a resource, because these kids, they don't have fathers. A lot of them don't have lunch money. A lot of them, don't have a man in their life at all. So
Right.
it's extremely important to to be resourceful and to care, because, like I said, coaching today is a challenge. It's a challenge because of the needs of these kids.
I was very shocked to see that. Can you hear me clear?
Yes.
I was very. You are so right, because a lot of those kids do not come from two-parent households, and
Yep.
those who are in single-parent households, I would say maybe a fourth of those students
Hmm.
or children may have interaction with their dad, but
Hmm.
then you have the rest that have no interaction
Yep.
with that male figure, or that father figure or grandfather figure,
Yep.
and it shows. It comes out
Yeah.
to the behavior and the interaction, and not necessarily does it mean that the student or the child will always act bad,
Right.
but there'll be some other traits, maybe withdrawn, or maybe they ignore, or it's just a lot of things that can happen. So yeah, you're right about that. Not
Yeah.
having that father figure.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging, because you really become, if you don't have any kids, you know what I mean, you gain 20, and you know what I mean, that's what 15, and that's what it is. And then it's like, once you establish that relationship, establish that discipline, you gain a care, so it's
Hmm.
like, I've been coaching at DCP now for a while, and so it's amazing to see that kids are come back that may be in high school now, or
Oh
what I'm
wow.
saying, now it's like, oh, so it's like this thing, like my imprint is on this school,
Yes,
in this whatever, because like, oh, you coach Aaron, oh, now I'm coaching little brothers and little sisters of people that I coach before. So it's like, it's real cool to see that and have that impact for sure.
that is something.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is.
were you able to go to a service today?
I did go to service today. I had both of my little ones with me today, so they kept me busy. But yeah, the whole service. I even helped out today in children's church.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. I said, every now and then, I think it's important as leadership that we roll up our sleeves and go to work.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
can't ask people to volunteer to watch kids if I'm not going to be willing to get in there and
You're
watch kids.
right.
So I did that today. And then probably about the last 15 minutes of the message, I heard,
Okay.
we're in this series entitled Preparation. So we've been talking about preparation, and today's message was about don't no shortcuts.
Mm.
And he was talking about how David had to go and get the Ark of the Covenant, and other people tried different ways or whatever, but it had to be done, specific, it had to be done the right way.
Right.
And the blessing, in not taking shortcuts, and stuff like that. And so it was a good message. Like I said, we're in a series of preparation, and
Hmm.
I'm excited. Next week is Christmas.
Yes, it is.
Christmas. We'll be having service next week. Well, let me first ask you about that, whatever, because I saw some stuff on Facebook, and I started to comment on it, and I said,
Uh
actually, I ain't gonna lie, I did comment on it. I just
huh.
deleted it. I just deleted it. I just
Uh
deleted it. But so I'm a firm believer, or a stance that church is on Christmas, I say cancel church. Flat out. Cancel church.
Okay.
I'm from the thought that
and why do you say cancel?
I say cancel church because Christmas is, we say, this is the day that we choose to celebrate the life of Jesus or whatever, everything like that. But ultimately, it's huge. It's a huge
Mm-hmm.
family day. When you think about families across the world that are fortunate to do so, they're going to be waking up. They're going to be opening gifts and da. They're going to be spending time with their family.
Yes.
Although we remember, who Jesus is, and we remember, but we remember that every day. You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say we do.
We remember that every day. So to me, if I was leading, to the full extent, I would definitely cancel Christmas service, and I would tell people, spend time with your family. Spend time with your family. Don't pull away from your family to come to church for an hour or 2 hours and then go back home. And it's the thing, because I'm not a religious person at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a religious person at all. I don't really subscribe to a lot of religious thoughts, whatever. But I think this is kind of one of them. To say, oh God, it's Christmas, so we got to have church on Christmas. We need everybody in church, but then we tell the church that their first ministry is their family. Now,
All the time.
Now, which one is it? Is the first ministry the family? Because if it is, you and your family can pray, y'all can worship, and somebody can give a word right in your house.
In your house.
You ain't got to come to the church and be pulled away. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, then especially as someone who has young kids, I got young children. I got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was up to me, I would say no church or whatever, and I would say be at home with your family. And I would say 2 things I would do. I would say, okay, we're gonna have a special service on Saturday, and we're gonna have service Saturday night. You know what I mean? Or Saturday morning or whatever. And then if I just wanted to do something on Christmas, I would say, well, everybody stay home. We're gonna be in line only. I want you to watch me for 1 hour, right?
Okay.
So just turn on Facebook, whatever, and watch me for an hour. We're gonna talk, whatever. I would do something like that, but I would not be pulling people to come. That I personally wouldn't do that.
I agree with that, and I pride myself in trying to be a progressive thinker with sprinkled with traditional values for seasoning.
I love that. I'm adopting that.
You adopt that?
I'm adopting that.
You can take that, my friend.
Okay.
And
I'm a forward thinker with some traditional seasons. Yeah, I like that.
And I ask you, if we're being taught every time we go to church, or if we know that what the reason for the season is, it is Jesus. Well, that's Jesus is the reason for the season in winter, spring, summer,
fall,
all that.
All of it.
And I just don't think on Christmas Day that we should have to go to the building to worship Jesus.
Yeah.
Or to have service.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We should, like you say, we're home, and especially if this is a family who normally goes to service, you have that devotion time whenever the family rise, and you give thanks, and you do whatever you do, and then you just celebrate family.
Exactly. You celebrate family because Christ being born. And this is my thing. This is my thing. Christ dying and rising again, right, is the most awesomest gift that we can ever be given. That's the gift to me. You know what I'm saying? That's the true gift. The fact that he died when he didn't have to. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
In itself, that's the gift.
Yes.
So the whole nature behind Christmas is like, when I think about Christmas, I don't think about Jesus.
Right, when he didn't have to.
I don't think about him being born in a manger. I think about spending time with my family. I think about game night with my cousins. I think about the food that I'm going to eat, the gifts that I'm going to buy for my mother and my kids and see their facial expressions like that. So it's like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's not a Christmas for me. It's not a religious holiday. It's a family holiday.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And we know that Jesus is the reason for the season. That's what we say, But is Jesus not the reason for every season? I mean, he is. So I don't look at Christmas
And we
as,
know this.
yeah, we know this. Yeah. So I just don't see it. I see it as a family day. Just like I see Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving is on, and but some folks have special Thanksgiving Day services. People do. They
Yes,
do
they
do that.
do.
They do. So yeah, I just don't subscribe to it. We're going to at my church, we're having service at 12 and it'll be an hour.
Okay.
So we push
Okay.
the time back, you know what I'm saying? We push the time back from 10. We start at 10. We're gonna have it at 12. And in this respect, okay, if I want to get up with my family and have some time and do breakfast, because my wife got all these cute ideas that she wants to do and everything like
Of
that. And it's like,
course.
okay, so if church starts around noon, hopefully the kids will be napping by then, by noon. And then I can go do my thing at church and get back to my family. You know what I mean? But I'm looking forward.
Okay.
I'm
Exactly.
looking more forward to spending time with my family than I am preaching the message. And I'm just being honest with you. You know
How
what I'm
about
saying?
that?
Yeah,
Because it's with your family where you will demonstrate the message.
exactly. It one
You know?
100%. 100%. You know.
I have a friend who just recently accepted his calling, and I was talking to him earlier today, and he brought this same subject up, and
Mhm.
he was so frustrated. And, oh, it's the end of the world, Chicken Little, the sky is falling. He said, "Man, I don't understand where church is going these days, and some of these churches not having service Sunday." And that make no sense to me. And why you changing time? And why did we cancel Sunday school? And I let him rant and rave and go on and on and
Mhm.
on. And I said, man, you from the 1970s, and you have old thoughts, and we're near an age, not exactly the same age. He's older, but we're
Okay.
near an age. And he's from the thought of, if I don't bring my Bible to church, looking at the Bible on my phone is
Mhm.
not the same.
Okay. Well, what's different about it?
It's on the phone and it's not a book.
Mm.
So you see the thought process there.
Bible thumpers. Bible thumpers. That's what I call them. They just want to take a Bible and hit you over the head with it. They just want to,
Right.
you know, and that's, and this is what I'll say. I'll say this with grace.
Mm-hmm.
I think that religion, some people almost like, and you see this in the Bible, some people cannot separate the Christ from the religion, right?
That's right.
John chapter 3, Jesus has a conversation with Nicodemus. And Nicodemus comes to Jesus at night. Sorry, I don't mean to preach.
Go ahead.
He comes to Jesus at night. The reason why Nicodemus comes to Jesus at night, because Jesus had just become public enemy number one. He
Uh-huh.
had just went into the temple, turned over some tables, messed with stuff
Right.
up. He had turned water into wine. He did all this stuff, and people were talking like, is he the Christ? If not, so Nicodemus, being a religious leader,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to be seen in the daytime with him. So he
Mm-hmm.
comes to him at night and he says to him something very interesting. He says, "You, Rabbi, you must be sent from God, because nobody can do what you do unless he be sent from God."
Mm-hmm.
Jesus says to him something that's so powerful. He said, "That's it. You must be born again." Now, if anybody was saved at this time, it was Nicodemus, because he was a
Exactly.
religious leader. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? If
Uh-huh.
anybody was a Christian at the time, it was Nicodemus. But he told him, you have to be born again. He was telling him that the word have now became flesh and dwelt among
And dwelt
us.
among us.
And Nicodemus was confused. He said, well, how can a man go back into his mother's
Womb.
womb? And he said, I'm not talking about a natural birth, but he talked about with fire. In other words, a spiritual birth.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think religion has been a car seat for the baby but the baby has gotten too big for the car seat now.
It's still sitting in it.
And it's still sitting in it. It's still sitting in it. You know,
Exactly.
it's still sitting in it. And some of us are afraid to let that car seat go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're afraid to sit in the car by ourselves because in religion, it keeps us bound.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because so we know, let's like the young rich ruler. I did this, I did this, I did this. Can I follow you?
Right.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So, and we think that but yeah, so it's crazy. So people are bound to the fact of having a Bible. Jesus, they didn't even have Bibles back then, boy.
Thank you.
Come
They
on,
did not have Bibles
they
back
had no
then.
Bible back then. Do you think if you told Jesus, hey, I got the word on my tablet, he gonna be like, dope, that's amazing.
How you get that?
How you get that? Do you know that a Bible being on an app now is actually more of a tool for you? Because now instead of telling you to go to your Bible, I can just send you the scripture. Come
Boom,
on.
there it is.
Come on, Sid.
There it is,
You're
right
thinking about
there.
it all wrong, player.
And I said, and the Bible speaks about being renewed in your mind, in
Yes.
your thinking, in your
Romans.
consciousness.
Yes.
So I don't
You
need to
need to
have
think more.
to go to church Sunday because it's Christmas and
Right.
drive through the blizzard or the snow or the ice, or if it's a sunny, beautiful
Well,
day.
you know what? And you just said a whole mouthful. And I think that's why because if you look, and from my experience, if you look online anywhere, churches are empty. You know,
Yes.
there are people there, but they're empty. And
Mm-hmm.
this is my opinion of why, right?
Okay.
Because for so long, prior to COVID, pre-COVID, we told people that if they didn't go to church, they was going to hell, right?
Yes.
COVID happened. Now nobody can go to church. Ain't nobody went to hell. So now people are living in a freedom that
Never
you mean
before.
I don't have to go?
Right.
You know what I mean? No, you don't. No. Check this out. I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to lose weight, you need to go to the gym.
Yes.
Because at the gym is all the equipment and the like-minded people that will help you to continue in the way that you should go.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't go to the gym, you're more likely to regress and become something that you don't want to see for yourself.
Exactly.
But you can lose weight at home. You
There
know
it
what
is.
I'm saying? And I
Yes,
think
I
that's
do.
the ugly truth the church has been afraid of. And now that truth has been exposed. And so
Mm-hmm.
now churches are empty because people I think it's going to come back full circle for sure.
Definitely.
Because we need church from the standpoint of the community, of
And
the
the fellowship.
fellowship, of it, and the like-mindedness of it. But we
Mm-hmm.
don't need church to be saved. We don't need church to go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
We
That's right.
don't need church to go to heaven. You know, and so I think it's gonna come. I think it's gonna come back. But I think that that lie is what's hurting the church now.
Definitely. And when you think of these times that people seek spirituality,
Mm,
but look for it in a different
a different way.
presentation
Yeah, we see that all the time.
all the time.
Yes,
It
artists on
was
the stage.
right. Exactly.
Man, I'm telling you.
And this particular friend talks about, how how we used to, people just get dressed up and be a suit
Mhm,
and tie, and the women would be dressed. You don't see that no more. This is him talking to me. I said,
mhm,
but how important is it? Yeah, that was for that era and that time. We
mhm,
would get up, and the young boys would have on their suits, fathers would have on their suits and ties, and mom be all decked out, and we all going as one.
mhm,
But as time progressed, they became older, the children became adults. We started thinking different, maybe not so much about not going to church, because usually if you're
mhm.
brought up in church 20,
Yeah.
30, 20, 20, 30, 40 years ago, that's just what you do.
Mhm,
Or maybe you look different. Maybe I'm not wearing that suit. Maybe I have on my khakis and my polo shirt.
mhm,
And I'm saying all that to say, uh, times have changed,
Mm-hmm.
People's thinking have changed. It's a younger generation. That's gonna be well, that is the foundation of the next generation, is the younger generation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So churches are empty. People have realized, oh, I can just look at Justin
Mm-hmm.
on the line,
Mm-hmm.
uh, at home or in my car or wherever I am,
Yep.
and still be able to glean from what he's saying, being able to
Right.
learn from what he's talking about. One pastor that I know, he said that his Bible study
Mm-hmm.
increased by 100%,
Mm.
gone
Wow.
from 7 to 10 people
Mm.
to 70 plus, sometimes in the hundreds. He said since he's
Mm.
been pastor there, never had he had so many people.
Mm.
You know, so
Yeah.
people are worshiping non-traditionally, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make them any less than or
It
any
doesn't
more than.
any more than that's it. Is preference, it's choice, you know. And you know, in the church, the church has a purpose, you know, and if we're going to change lives, and you know, when you look at even like we were talking to the historian, you know, when you look at large movements, they all started within the black church, you know,
Yes, it
for our
has.
people. So they're great to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be a part of them,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't need to go to church on Christmas. You
No.
don't, you know, or you know, it's like, or any other day, you know, it's like you going like you are you gonna die if you don't go? Like, no,
If you
that's
don't go,
right.
is
That's
that
not
going to
the
be
case.
a mark against you?
Right. It's
And,
not the
and,
case.
and another thing, Justin, maybe some people don't need to go to church on Christmas Day after Christmas Eve.
You're right. You might have a little bit too much fun, you
You
know.
might have had a little too much fun. So you might need to stay home
That's hilarious.
and get yourself together.
Yeah. So I don't know why. And this is the thing, you know, and that's what religion does. You know, religion says that it's not this, is that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything other than that is wrong.
It's wrong.
That's religion. You know what I mean? That's religion in a nutshell. And I think that the more that we realize that there's a duality here, that two things are true at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
we'll find a way to love each other and appreciate each other. And you know, and we'll see that we actually have more in common than we don't. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so if you subscribe to going to church on Christmas and you got to be in church on Christmas, I ain't mad at you.
Have
You
at
know,
it.
have at it, but don't go online and demonizing pastors and saying that they're wrong, or we ain't this or we ain't
Exactly.
that because we're changing the time or canceling service. Um, that's not right, and that's
No,
my
it's
issue. And like I said, so it makes me go to the extreme. Well, if you want to be honest,
not
we
right.
ain't. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Christmas or any day. You know what I'm saying? Jesus is the reason for it. He's the reason for every season.
For every season.
What season he ain't the reason for? You know. So, but if you want to go to church on Christmas, go to church on Christmas.
Go to church, please.
Yeah, go to church.
Because the bottom line is, it is free will. You
Mhm.
can or you cannot.
Yeah, you
But
can.
we just prefer Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next.
We'll see you next week. You know, and even this year, New Year's. This is my thing with New Year's. So my thing is this: I don't know what pastors are doing. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my thinking. If New Year's Eve is on Saturday, right? Saturday, and then New Year's Day falls on Sunday. And my thinking would be to have a early New Year's Eve
Eve
celebration
service,
so
yes.
that I could get you out by 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock,
You know what I mean? That means you got 2 hours to make it home before the folks start shooting and stuff like that. And then
yes.
I'll see y'all in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
So if you want, if you
If you
subscribe,
got to, right.
right, to have church on New Year's Eve, we going from 7 to 10, get you home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Then you come back Sunday morning. You know what I mean?
Here it
And
is.
just to provide that place of worship for people who would like to, you know, but honestly, we ain't even bringing it in, because if we're going to be going by 10, we might as well I just might as well see y'all in the morning.
In the morning
In
anyway.
the morning anyway. But you know, but this is the thing you got to remember. Church is an organization. Organizations take money. These are extra services that bring in, extra
Extra
incomes,
loot.
extra loot. So, if people are not going to be willing to cancel, or they got they soda seed vision statement ready for New Year's Eve, pay it for whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Then that's what people do. So in that standpoint, I get
have
it.
at it again.
Have at it again.
And we have been brainwashed to think that if people are not in the building, they're not going to give. But that's not true. People will
Right.
give. People will send their money to Africa, will send it to various places that they have never visited, just to help.
Just to help.
Even
Yeah.
in the wake of the pandemic, people weren't going to church. People still sent their tithes, and even some churches were able to expand on their method of getting tithes through pay, PayPal, Cash App,
Cash
or
App.
Zelle. So you're right. We're in a new day. The word will never change, but
Right.
but we have to be able to adapt to
Yeah.
to the lifestyle. So what do they say? Would it do and see? What is it? Do as the Romans do.
Who has the Rome?
When
What in
in Rome,
Rome?
do as the
As Romans
Romans.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So I got a huge dilemma because Michigan is playing in the college football playoff,
Okay.
and the game is on December 31st. Yeah,
Ouch.
and it's in Arizona. I have a brother that lives in Phoenix, Arizona, so I could easily get to the game, not have to worry about a hotel. I can stay with my brother or whatever.
Okay.
But it's like, okay, in one token, I really want to go to the game. Church, I ain't really worried about church. I don't got to be at church for New Year's.
Right.
But
We
then
deal
it's
with
like my family. I'm not taking, I don't know if my wife probably don't want to go. But if she don't want to go, then that mean I would be bringing in a New Year in Arizona, away from my wife and away from my kids. And it's like, man, but Michigan playing.
It's Michigan, sweetie.
Hey, but Michigan is playing in the playoffs, because the
see
game
that?
is at like 4. We could be on FaceTime. Happy New Year! I see it in a couple hours.
Wait, you see that new Louis I left for you under the
Yep.
the sofa pillow?
Yep. You gonna bring it in style,
Right.
So I've been really thinking like, man, like, should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? It's like, man, it's just that the fact that so what I did was, so Michigan won the Big Ten 2 years in a row. And I've been a Michigan fan probably since I can remember. So it's been over 10, 15, almost, I was even say 20 years. It's probably been over 20 years I've been a huge Michigan fan. And this is the first time that I can remember them winning the Big Ten. I know they won it maybe back in like 2000 or something like that. But, I didn't know anything about it at that time. So I was thinking to myself, man, when this happened 2 years in a row, this might not happen again in my lifespan.
It might not.
It might, you know what I mean? So I said, I should go to the Big Ten championship game. And I was going to go to the Big Ten championship game. I was going to drive down there. And a friend of mine calls and says, well, hey, yeah, let's go to the playoff game. His wife is a flight attendant. He said, well, I get the tickets and everything. We'll go to that game, the playoff game, instead of the Big Ten, because they're going to win that game. I said, yeah. So I agreed. And then lo and behold, he's a pastor. And of course, New Year's, the game is on New Year's. So, he's not going. I'm not. So it's like, I didn't go to the Big Ten championship game because you told me we were going to the playoff game. Now the game on New Year's, you reneging on me.
What's up?
Yeah.
That's a major dilemma.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear the outcome. So for those of you who will watch this later, you just put right in the comments, should Justin stay or should Justin go?
Well, listen, if you see me doing a show from my mom's house after
moving forward, we already know what happened.
You know what happened.
Yes, indeed.
Oh man.
So in the last few minutes before we go, we wanted to talk about Joe Biden's signing into law about um, interracial marriage
Yes.
and same-sex marriage,
Same-sex marriage.
and the that passed one day this week.
Yep.
And but what is very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people are quite upset about it. But when I was reading about it, Justin, and I was really ignorant to the fact of everything that went into law and what was in the law. But the main factor is allowing is where that no family member and or legal legal maneuvers can break the marriage. And so, and I was wondering even prior to the show, I'm like, okay, well, what really is the big issue about it now? With interracial marriage, it just became legal in 1967. So that's what, almost a little over 50 years ago.
That's
Which is not
crazy.
really a long time.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? And I think publicly we saw more interracial marriages, and during maybe the mid 80s, seeing Quincy Jones with Peggy Lipton, and that's way before you, Justin.
Yeah.
Sammy Davis Jr. with, I believe her name was Elva, and there was a couple of few other popular people, but you rarely saw publicly interracial marriages. Like whenever you saw, at least here in the city of Detroit, you'd be like, that's a mixed marriage, And even now that moving forward to 2015, where gay marriages have been deemed as legal in the in certain parts of the states, now it's legal throughout all the states. But the point of what I'm making is when I read about it, is that it was still a loophole in these laws that could allow the marriage to be dissolved, one with some type of sickness or death, making those final decisions. And you think about it, if you've been married, same sex or interracial, and you've been together all this time, and that you're not able to make the final decision, their family member can come in, regardless what your religious beliefs are on either one of those, gay, same sex, or interracial. That is, I would say, one of the most inhumane things I could think could be done.
Could be done. Yeah. That's, I mean, like, I don't even know, like, who wrote that and why did they write it? Like, geez.
Right. So you've invested your time with this in this relationship, and now at one of the most critical times, you can't make a decision.
Right, I can't make a decision.
When I was working at one of the insurance companies here, it was just becoming on the surface where you were seeing visible gay couples. And one of their issues were that they could not get health insurance or be on their health insurance of their partner, because the marriage wasn't even an issue at that time, because no one was talking about it, because they didn't think it would ever happen. And so they and people or the partners wanted to be able to be on their health insurance, and a lot of the health insurance companies didn't allow it, because they said, well, you're not legally married, and you're just not able to put that person on your policy. However, you could put a child on the policy and you not be their legally parent. So there were a lot of things that were going on during that time that people in both of these situations or these type of relationships were not really getting the full benefits. I think I think media focused a lot on saying well, now this is equal to a male-female relationship of the same race, different sex.
Mm-hmm.
But after just really thinking about it, I wouldn't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're trying to be equal to the sanctity of the marriage as
Mm-hmm.
to the benefits of a
Of
marriage.
marriage. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you see. My old scout car partner got married a little while ago to
Okay.
a female, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that they were still having some issues. So maybe I'm thinking now that those issues will be resolved,
Mm-hmm.
because even with the city of Detroit, she couldn't put her on her insurance. She couldn't put her wife on her insurance or something weird,
Okay.
like that. So I was like, so it's legal, but it's it because I think gay marriage is legalized. It wasn't illegal in Michigan.
Right. It was legal in Michigan.
So I just don't understand. So maybe it's maybe something that's recognized, but not legalized. Like I
Not
don't know.
legalized. And then
Yeah,
this is what this bill has done.
yeah. So maybe now all of those barrels and hurdles and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
will be answered. My take is this. I'm a I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I have strong beliefs, but I don't venture my beliefs on other people. I only
Exactly.
venture my beliefs on people who subscribe to what I believe.
But
So if 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 Joe Blow and Joe Willie, if that's what they want to do, that's between them and God or
that's
whatever they
right.
believe. And I guess from a standpoint of understanding that not all people are going to be saved, from the standpoint of subscribe to Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
would I be okay if somehow the federal government, took martial law and said this is what it's going to be, and everybody has to live? I wouldn't like that. I think
Right.
I like freedom of religion. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that a person's religious beliefs should have any bar in what they do in their regular life.
Life.
So if you want to get married and you believe that you and Sally is in love, whether you black or white, same
Mm-hmm.
sex and no same sex, if that's what y'all want to do it.
Do it.
You know what I mean? And don't not do it because
You can't do it.
you can't do it because the law was wrote to be Christian and you're not a
Mm-hmm.
Christian. You know what I mean? Like that's
I
not
know.
that's not fair. That's to me that's inhumane to force somebody. That's the same thing of if we go to foreign countries and kill people who say that they're not Christians,
That's
right?
right.
It's the same oppression.
Yes,
I
it
don't believe
is.
what you believe, so I should be free to operate on how I believe.
How you believe.
I want to be able to operate how I want to, so I can't bar people from, you know what I mean, from operating how they choose to.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, legalize it. Do whatever you want to do with it to make it thing. My issues, though, this is my big issue
Okay.
with all of this, right? Because the alphabet is forever expanding. You know what I mean? My issue comes into play is kids. Okay,
Yes.
there's people out here who says and I've saw videos of people who says a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or 11-year-old can choose what they want and what they like. They cannot. They
They
have no
cannot.
idea. And so I will not support innocent children
Being
being,
subjected
being
to
subjected to one way of, you know what I
mhm,
mean?
to their own thoughts
Right. You know what I mean? Or to an adult's thoughts who
or
says,
to an adult son
right,
who's trying to profit off of
profit
it.
off of it. I
That's
will
which is
not.
another story
Yeah. That
topic,
yeah,
I should say.
yeah, I will. That's it. So
Hmm.
when you start trying to talk about children and including children or people having relationships with children or different or touching children, no,
Yeah,
we're not
I'm
playing
not
that.
for that either.
But if you grown till adult and you want to grow, if you want a female or you want a male, hey, y'all do what y'all do. More power to you. Now if you subscribe what I subscribe to, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna teach you the way. This
Okay,
way, you
it'll
know,
be a different.
it'll be different than that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You know, it was crazy not too long ago. There was I believe the city, it's a city outside of Real Oak, but it's not Real Oak, but it's right there. It's a real small city. You know the
Pleasant
name?
Ridge.
It's right by Real Oak, but it's like, can't think of it, but it's in that same little vein. It's a little small city, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy on city council who was a Christian, who he voted. I guess there was some bill, and I have to look it up. There was some bill that it ended up getting passed, but he voted no on it. And I wanted to
Okay.
say that it was about like making people's, like, I guess if a business didn't want to sell to a same-sex couple or
Oh,
something
okay.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the only person that, whatever the bill was, I could be wrong, whatever it was, he voted no. He
Okay.
voted no. And when they asked him why he voted no, he said, because I'm a firm believer and he was a Christian, right? That's what he said. So I looked at it, and when I saw it, I said, he's stupid. And the reason he's stupid was because you have to separate belief, your religious beliefs, from
Yes.
local city government.
Yes, you do.
They're not the same.
They're not the same.
You can govern a church, you can govern a community of believers, you can
Your
govern your
home.
house, your home, you can value that over what of your religious beliefs. But when you are in a position of city council, something like that, you have to think about the common good of people,
Of people.
not if or Christian or Methodist or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying. And so I think that whatever the bill was, if everybody should be able to, you would say is wrong if the sign says no blacks allowed,
That's
right?
right.
We would say
We
that's
would be
wrong,
up in arms.
right? So how can we let a merchant tell somebody they can't sell to somebody because they're homosexuals?
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair. That's not I don't know, it's like inhumane, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you stood up for your faith, and it's like, and I get it. In one token, they do it in a religious way. Yeah, I'll never vote for that because I'm not a sellout. To
Right.
me, that's not being a sellout. How are you being a sellout when, because you voted to allow things
Discriminate.
to, right, not to, like, you can't. People are going to be people whether they believe in God or not.
Yes, they
So
will.
you can't discriminate against people because they don't believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but he called himself, standing up for his faith, and and I don't think that he's standing up for his faith. I don't
No.
think that you're doing that by doing that. You do that by being a light. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you do that.
That's how you do that.
That's how because anyone that goes into politics have a clear understanding that there are going to be issues that are going to are that may be against your belief.
Yeah.
And you can't use what your belief is to decide on issues. Now,
Exactly.
if the situation had been, well, we're not gonna sell to homosexuals because it's proven, it's a fact that when 4 or 5 get together, they go crazy and tear up the store based on behavior. That would be something different.
Different, right?
But not because of who they are,
right,
and what they do.
Right, they do, right? Yeah,
No,
100%.
No, and then you pre-enumerating
Berkeley. That's
and yes, and you're advancing that small thought. And as you look around and you see every day, the world has become smaller, and a lot of things have become more public, and a lot of things that I see on TV or different things about whatever subjects, I think, oh man, that's kind of out there.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it. That particular action is not hurting anybody. So let me stay in my lane and try to keep Rufus at least semi-walking the right way, or behaving in the proper manner.
Right. Now, before we go, I gotta ask you about this. My wife asked me about this.
Okay.
Did you hear about the Good Morning America?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you're well aware of the situation.
The relationship between the two. Okay.
I guess some private investigator followed them and saw that they went on vacation and had an inappropriate relationship. Whatever. Now, they have pretty much put them on a sabbatical, set them down.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's the does the crime fit the punishment? Like, what's going on?
Well, you know what, Justin? I think that was a little extreme.
Okay.
And this is why. Now, and they said Robin Roberts was the one that got the ball rolling. I don't know that to be true.
Mm-hmm.
However, if what they were doing was disturbing the work
Mm-hmm.
at that station, and it was hindering progress on a day-to-day basis, I could see maybe some type of discipline or some kind of, if even if not a discipline, uh, um, what do you call it? They call them warnings in the regular world. But let's have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this is what it is, and their contracts do not say you cannot do this,
Right.
can you keep that to a minimum while you're here at work?
Yeah.
Because people, it's disrupting the workflow. Because I think she was married, or either he was married,
They both married.
or they both right. They both were married.
Yeah.
But to just dismiss them, and they were rating earners too.
That's what I'm saying. To me, if anything, that just mean the rain's about to go up, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's like, now, if it came from the standpoint of, okay, like, I gotta figure this out because you've been cheating, and now you gotta go on TV with this person, and your husband or your wife feels some type of way about it, and you gotta figure that out, or you're gonna move on. Then I get that. Like, oh,
I
my
get
husband doesn't
that.
want. So
Yes.
now let's pick who's staying or who's going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But to say, like, I think what I read was that they were told that their private lives have become a distraction to the show, and so they were going to just sit them down for a while. Now, how long would this last? I would imagine that one of them just going to have to move on.
Yeah. One will.
Yeah, um, or both. And but it's just like, I guess I guess from the husband and wife standpoint, it's like, no, like, you're not about to be on TV. That's the definition of in front of my face, right?
Right.
If in front of my face was ever a situation,
This
this is
is.
it. All
This
this chemistry y'all got, laughing and feeding each other, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
For play, and it's been real. It's been real.
I saw that interview between Jennifer Aniston, and this was when Brad Pitt hooked up with Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
And Jennifer Aniston went to the set. They were filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Brad had her to come to the location. She said when she instantly walked on set, she said she felt that chemistry between her husband and Angelina Jolie that surpassed what they were doing for a movie. And so she said that once she knew that he was going to admit to it, or whatever the discussion was, she said, I'm not going to want to be seeing him on making these movies and seeing him right there in front of my face, because he was in the height of his popularity at the time. Mm-hmm. She's like, this is just devastating to me. So I can go with, you're the spouse saying, really, now
right.
you're just gonna put it right in my face,
right? Like, no, I get that. So it's like, yeah. So maybe that's what happened, because I was thinking, like, it would seem like that mean more people gonna tune into the show,
right?
Hey, that's gonna be good for ratings, right? That's what I would think. But
now, see, on a producer standpoint, if we both have been dismissed or on sabbatical, we would have a conversation. Look, can we get more money going this route? We just do us a live on TV and say, forget Good Morning America.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because America loves scandal.
Right.
And we love to be in people's business, especially celebrities.
Right.
And they could make a mint and say, goodbye, Disney.
Right.
Thanks for keeping it warm.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, Justin, this has been a great show.
Always.
Christmas is next week, and then following that is New Year, so we're going to be off 2 weeks.
Okay. Little break.
We got a little break, so we encourage everybody just to go into the archives and pull some of our fascinating and interesting shows. I
Yeah.
think Joanne probably is nice and comfortable in her seat right about now, and have seen into the first act. Now, that's one place that you can go is to the theater and know they're gonna start on time. They don't care about that CP time. Oh, Sister Jones ain't here yet with the bulletin. We gotta wait.
We gotta wait.
No. 8 o'clock is curtain. Well, 7:30 was curtain call, I believe. And it's gonna start. Well, Justin, I know this is your big family day, and I want to tell everybody Justin is a big proponent for family. Yes. He is, an advocate. If there is any young man that ever has been, and not to say that you may not know somebody, but this guy is, and he loves family and he values it, which is a lost and dying art. So support those who support family. If you have somebody in your family that the family is all about what they are, support them and give and just support them in whatever you can do to make their lives enriched. Give us the word for the week, Justin.
The word for the week: every opportunity is actually not an opportunity.
All right.
Let that sit in.
Let that simmer.
Every opportunity is actually not an opportunity. Is not. So make sure that you evaluate what you consider to be an opportunity, because it might just be a pit waiting for you to fall in.
And we don't need to fall.
We don't need to fall.
Justin, has been real. Have a great evening. Give our best to your wife and to your mom and your dad.
Sure will.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks for listening, everybody.